guys, I'm out here with Sheriff Pat West. I'm Michael with Four Seasons.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me out. Appreciate you letting me be a part of this safety orientation, so to speak, with off-roading. So looking forward to talking about it a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into this. We've got a couple machines with us. I've got a Razor Pro R with us, and I've also got a Sportsman XP1000 with us today.
Some of the things that we've seen, is on the law enforcement side, it's important for, number one, people need to wear their seatbelts. Do whatever you can especially on the UTVs. Obviously, the four-wheelers are different, but we encourage, people need to wear those seatbelts because we've had a lot of incidences where people have been thrown out of the UTVs and been injured as a result. So do whatever you can to stay inside. Also, it's encouraged, obviously, to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Obviously, having a helmet on is going to save you. There's a lot of things that happen when you're inside of a UTV and it rolls over. You have a false sense of security, basically wearing a seatbelt, but it's important, if you can, to wear a helmet, especially when you're driving a four-wheeler.
For sure. Helmet size is really important for you folks too. Make sure you have a helmet that fits your head. You've got the straps that are fit to you as well. Don't just grab a helmet off the shelf and say, hey, this will work, and it be too large or too small for you. And then on helmets, wear goggles. They'll protect your eyes, or some glasses of some sort. You don't want dust, debris when you're traveling down the roadway or the trails flying into your eyes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Eye safety is important, along with wearing the right clothing, gloves, dressing well. The weather changes up here in the hills, and at night it still gets cold. And if you get stranded somewhere, it's important that you're dressed for that, dress in layers. A couple of other things to include, like you have here, is a good tool set in case you break down, maybe a tire repair kit for that, along with a first aid kit.
For sure.
Super important. Something happens and you need that. It's important to have that available.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better to help yourself right away so that first responders have a chance, if something were to happen, to get to you on time.
Right. One other thing that's really important for us is to make sure people have a fire extinguisher if they can, especially on fire dangers. Our fire people tell me every day, they're concerned about fire, and it gets to moderate or low, there's potential for that. So having a fire extinguisher available to help in that event is very, very important. When you're driving on some of these trails, some of these aren't maintained. Some of them have some gravel, but they're pretty unforgiving.
Yeah.
So you need to understand what you're doing, how you drive. Don't overdrive road conditions. We see a lot of our accidents, people driving too fast.
Yeah.
They lose control, whether it be in the gravel or the rocks, and they end up going over a cliff or even rolling on the two tracks. So it's important to understand the roads and to make sure that you know how to drive them. When you're up in the hills, understand when you're going down a trail and you're going around a blind corner or over a blind hill, make sure you stay far to the right.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's coming over the hill. I always tell my boys, defensive driving, super important. Always watch out for the other guy. Make sure that they're paying attention to you so you can see each other.
Yep. And,
that'll help eliminate that type of stuff, accidents or collisions.
Absolutely. Another important thing to have with you is a map. Whether it's on your phone, it's on paper, it's on the Polaris Ride Command app, the Advenza maps, whatever, you need to have a map with you so you don't get lost.
Yeah, having the map is extremely important. Also, just to, notify people where you're going to be. If you're going to go up for just a couple-hour ride and you don't have anybody with you, make sure you let somebody back home know where you're going to be. So in the event you don't make a rendezvous point or don't make it back in time, people have a general idea where to look for you and find you. So super important to just make sure you got good communication with your family and friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And then too, when you're going out on the trails, this is very important for you to have. If you don't have a trail permit, those Forest Service guys will stop you and issue a ticket more than likely. So make sure you have this with you. in a seeable place, usually on the left-hand side of the vehicle, and somewhere where it's easily visible. If you don't already have one of these, you can stop by Four Seasons. We've got them. You can stop by a Ranger District office, and you can stop by there's some various gas stations around town that offer these as well. Another big thing to touch on here, width restrictions. As we dive into trail riding season, some of our machines like this Pro R are too wide for some of your trails, so keep an eye on posted signs. Some of them will say 62 inches. Now there's only a few hundred miles of restricted trails where there's thousands and thousands of miles within the hills that allow you to ride freely. So, and then when you're coming off the trail, what do you need?
Yeah, well, it's important, being up in the trails is different than being on the public road. You definitely need a street legal machine, which means you have to have illuminated license plates that are up to date. You also have to have a horn, some rear view mirrors, and your tail lights and your headlights need to work. So it's important that if you're going to and from, if you're not trailering your vehicle or your UTV here and getting on the trails, it needs to be street legal to make it appropriate so you can get back home.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is I can't have my taillights off driving home and not get stopped, right?
That's correct. You're going to get stopped and probably get a ticket.
Oh.
So, but we just encourage people to do the right thing, be
Absolutely.
safe. So, one last thing I'd like to talk about is super important. People are up here to have a good time, and we don't want any tragedies. And part of that would be not wearing your seatbelt and drinking and driving. We got to be very careful. Drinking and driving is illegal in a motor vehicle, and it's also illegal in these type of motor vehicles as well. It's a UTV or a four-wheeler. So don't drink and drive, wear your seatbelts, and if you can, wear a helmet. You're going to save some lives.
Absolutely. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Again, I'm Michael with Four Seasons. If you guys have any questions, you can give me a holler at 605-342-1110, or you can contact.
Yeah, you can get a hold of us at the Meade County Sheriff's Office at 605-347-2681. If you got any questions on, off-roading, vehicle safety, street safety, give us a call. We'll help you out.
Absolutely. Well, Pat, thanks for coming out with us.
You bet. Well, I appreciate you having me. Be a part of this. If you guys need anything, Meade County's here to help and do what we can to keep people safe on the roads.